What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So the preseason should be hitting tomorrow. So today I want to rank every single AD from the best to worst with the new masteries, item builds, and runes that I would use for them now in the preseason. I'm also going to talk a tiny bit at the start about general stuff you need to know, but this should be a complete startup guide to AD carry in the preseason. Obviously, the rankings though are my opinion from my time on the PvE. So the first thing you need to know is Fervor is changing and now gives AD. It only lasts 4 seconds and it has 10 stacks instead of 8. This is actually a nerf to RUNES as well, because a big part of that was all 3 of the bolts applied Fervor on hit damage, so just something to bear in mind. Twitch as well is changed. His Q is camouflage, so you can actually see him if he's nearby now, but the stealth is quicker. His W also now lasts 3 seconds on the floor. It adds poison over time and it also slows. The main item stuff you need to be aware of is Dustblade is the same idea, except now is the true damage on the auto only lasts 4 seconds after they see you. You need to run into vision and use it straight away to get full effect. The Ghostblade active no longer gives you attack speed, just move speed, and the new Edge of Night item. This is a controversial one because a lot of people say that it's useless on AD, and I don't agree. It gives you a spell shield, but you have to channel it for 1.5 seconds. Now you can move, but you can't take damage, so you have to use this just before a fight starts. Then you have this shield that lasts 10 seconds to fight with, and it blocks the first spell if it's crowd control or damage. More MASTERIES is now actually better for AD carries in my opinion. It has 10% cooldown reduction, it gives more magic resist, and 20 AD with the shield when it procs. The final item change you need to be aware of is a support item redemption, a new item, 2.5 second cast which heals allies in it and burns enemy champions for 10% max health as true damage, plus it damages minions. It's kind of like a mini Ziggs ultimate. They can even use it when they're dead. It's annoyingly good weight clear actually, but it's very obvious on the screen with an indicator. You just have to be aware it's very strong. In theory, you can heal roughly late game for 500 for every single ally in it, which is pretty nuts, and it's also going to damage the enemy team. So let's get on to the AD carry rankings. The way this is going to work is I'm going to give them stars out of 5. Obviously 5 stars is the best, and then kind of 1 star is the worst. I'm going to put each champion into each tier of like 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, go over the mastery pages that you should be using that I think are the best right now, and the new runes and new items as well. So we're going to start at the top 5 stars. The first one is Jhin. The new lethality and crit hybrid combination is so overpowered. He's also very good against assassins because he can stay so far back. For mastery pages, you do still want to go death fire touch, but there is just something I want to explain very quickly. So the 4th tier choice is now bounty hunter, which is 1.5% per unique champion killed, so it's up to 7.5%. There's double-edged sword, which is 5% bonus damage, but you take 2.5% more, and a battle trance, which is new, which is 5% increased damage over 5 seconds when in combat with champions. In my opinion, you should be taking bounty hunter or double-edged sword, and in my opinion, double-edged sword is better because it's a permanent 5%, but you do take more damage as well. So if you can position properly, I think that's the best personally. For runes, lethality reds, armor, and magic resist as normal, and then AD quints, or maybe even lethality quints if you really want to go ham, but that might be overkill. For items, the new Dustblade is super good. In my opinion, Ghostblade and Dustblade as core, then you can just get a dirt component for a bigger spike if you want to, but you move into crit afterwards. Rapid Fire Cannon or Phantom Dancer, Infinity Edge, Bloodthirst, The Last Whisper, kind of hybrid, right? But also crit build would work well, I think. Something I've tried is going Ghostblade into crit, and that is actually high mobility and better in lane. The other one with 5 stars is Misfortune. The new lethality items are so overpowered on her now with her love tap and the Dustblade active. It's ridiculous. Mastery pages is going to be Death Fire Touch with double-edged sword, and for runes it's going to be lethality red, AD quints in my opinion. Maybe again lethality if you really want to, but I'm not really sure about that. Items, you want to go Dustblade and then Ghostblade, Black Cleaver, and in my opinion you can just get the Dirk part if you want. Edge of Night is kind of useless on her unless they have heavy divers. You can just go the Dirk for extra Dustblade damage, like the extra true damage, but then you go into crit because her ultimate can crit and she has a really solid late game. Now moving on to our 4-star tier. So this is still very good. Obviously this is still kind of like the second tier of champions, not quite as good as the other 2, but still very strong. Jinx is going to be the first one here because I think she's still the best auto attack based champion in my opinion, but I'm going to explain a few things here because this is the first auto kind of crit build one. The others will be a bit quicker. I think Fervor is not that amazing on AD carries that don't have AD scaling abilities they use now because of the way it was changed. It's best used really with a mix of auto and ability damage. It takes longer to stack now, it falls off quicker. It's not that good unless you're constantly applying it. This is the problem with Jinx and other RUNES users, is because the Fervor on hit damage would hit all 3. Right now it's not. It's kind of actually a pretty big nerf, but we can still take Warlords. 1812 would be the mastery choice here. Warlords normally, or you can go further, but in my opinion with triple crit you actually want lifesteal earlier into the game because you're not building it for a long time. Runes will be the same. Items kind of same as well. Triple crit, BF sword into runes into Phantom Dancer most likely. Now Phantom Dancer is actually going to be more important now with tanks and assassins everywhere. I think that's the meta we're going into, tank and assassin, and rapid fire doesn't really do as good of a job as Phantom Dancer. Honestly, I would still build runes though because of her AoE crit rockets, which are just so strong. Also bear in mind, more of MASTERIES is also much better now for auto-reliant champions as well. You kind of didn't really ever want to get this on a crit build, but now you actually can with the extra AD and cooldown. Vayne is going to be the second champion I'm giving 4 stars to because every single person I've seen that plays Vayne on the PB just absolutely crushes. It's ridiculous. The new Dustblade plus the crit build that's already working at the moment is just so strong. But for Masteries, I would go Warlords at the moment. Fervor would still work for more aggressive. It actually does work because your Q has a good AD ratio and you're also going to get bigger crits. Even Thunderlords could actually work if you want to do the Assassin build. If you want to do the build I showed you the other day, which was like Dustblade, Ghostblade, Edge of Night, and then into crit with Triforce, Thunderlords would actually work pretty well. Runes would be the same, but the item builds are actually going to be a few. So the first build would be crit build. It's still very good. Shiv into Infinity Edge in the Phantom Dancer, basically the same as now, but again, more Mortius is very good on Vayne now, and also Dustblade is a viable option to go into any single build on her. I could actually see as well Shiv going into Dustblade, then Phantom Dancer, then Infinity Edge as well. Warlords or Fervor here, but I'd probably say Warlords actually because you get no life steal with this crit build. The Assassin build is the second build, so this will be Dustblade, maybe actually Shiv first here for some attack speed, then Ghostblade, then Edge of Night if they have some spells you want to block, and then Infinity Edge. There is no doubt Dustblade is super overpowered with her ultimate. It's very strong because you can proc it multiple times in a team fight. You're probably going to do like 600 to 700 at least true damage, but working out where to slot it into a build properly is actually kind of the hard thing. So the next one with 4 stars is going to be Lucian. I'm taking a bit of a risk here and putting him in this tier. He's very good for the assassins and he has the new Fervor as well. So the new Fervor is actually very good on him. It might make him come back a little bit because you can stack it so fast with his passive, and the AD also increases his ability damage and autos. That is perfect. I think this is really good. I think it's going to come back a bit. I would probably go Bounty Hunter though and not Double-Edged Sword because you're low range. You don't want to take a 2.5% extra increase in damage. Oh, I guess if your balls are big enough, you can do though. Now, Ghostblade is not as good in my opinion anymore on Lucian. It doesn't give you attack speed anymore. It is cheaper by 200, I guess. It could still work. I still think Black Cleaver is good. Maybe we'll see Dustblade into Black Cleaver though if you wanted more of a 1v1 build, then go into crit afterwards, or Blade the Rune King for example. The crit build would actually work, but Dustblade is kind of too overpowered in the general game at the moment, and you're probably going to get bullied too hard in the lane phase when he's supposed to be like strong. It's supposed to be a lane bully. That wraps up our 4-star champions. So 3-star, this is still very good, right? This is still like average tier. This is, you can win games with them definitely, but they're not like overpowered. Draven is going to be the first one. If played well, I actually think he's at the top of tier 3. I even maybe was going to put him into tier 4 because of the new lethality. So Warlords or Fervor for the mastery pages. Warlords is insane lifesteal as we already know, but Fervor AD damage now will buff his axes and lead to a ton of extra damage over a fight. It would be really good, better than it is now. Runes, same as now, or you can go lethality reds and 80 quints for more aggressive early game. And items, Ghostblade is not as good anymore because no attack speed, but it is still good overall damage. I think Dustblade actually will probably most likely replace this now. In my opinion, Death Dance or Bloodthirster into Dustblade is really strong, and then Ghostblade after maybe. That's lots of damage, is lots of lifesteal, especially with Fervor as well, and I'd expect lethality Draven to be very strong, so you're gonna have to watch out for that one. Ezreal is the next one, and Mastery, Fervor or Warlords again. Fervor's not too bad because you have an AD scaling on your Q anyway, so you're not really losing too much. It might actually even be better. Blue Ezreal took a bit of a hit because we have no increase from slow damage in our Masteries anymore, but you are super safe, so you can take Double-Edged Sword, in my opinion, actually probably better overall. Triforce with Fervor might be really good as well. Item builds for Ezreal I think are going to stay the same, except maybe one thing I want to mention. Edge of Night or more Mortius are going to be really good on him I think now, and also earlier. He's already slippery as balls, already hard to kill, and now it's even worse, and that would be instead of a Mercurial Scimitar if they have low crowd control. If we do get loads of assassins, Ezreal is obviously very good against them because he can kind of stay safe, and I think he actually might even move up to the 4-star tier. We'll have to see though. So Caitlyn is the next one with 3 stars. Masteries in my opinion very similar to Jinx, so most likely Warlords unless it's very easy lane and you can go further, though it's not amazing. Runes will be same as now. Items will be same as well. Triple crit BF sword into Runes with again a Phantom Dancer because I just think Phantom Dancer is going to come in massively against tanks and assassins. For skill order though, I'd probably max my Q or W depending on the lane. So Q is for push, W only with some sort of synergy now, so like a Morgana bind into trap for guaranteed damage. Ashe is going to be the next one, and very similar to Jinx, Caitlyn and stuff, but actually with Fervor it's interesting because it's probably actually better now than it was before. At least early, WQ and your passive have good AD ratios, which means the overall extra AD means more than just auto damage. It's actually a big increase. Items would be triple crit in my opinion though, maybe Essence Reaver, but with more tanks coming in I don't think it's actually as worth. I would rather go triple crit. Edge of Night but could be really good though as well because you are immobile. So Twitch is going to be the last one in the 3-star tier, and it's going to be Fervor or Warlords again for kind of, well, Warlords is like safety, Fervor is more damage. Not having the old Fervor actually sucks for team fights as Twitch because like that's why he's only 3 at the moment. Like you'd apply all of that on hit damage to everyone with your ultimate and runes, and now you can't. The good thing is though, with the new items, Dustblade is so good on him. It makes him such a good assassin. You pop out of stealth, you get an extra true damage to start the fight. I think personally, I've moved him more to an assassin style than a teamfight style without the fervor. His teamfight is still good, but I think it comes online a bit later now with like runes and crit and stuff when you have all of these items rather than just the fervor built in. I think really you're going to play him with a Dustblade now and just absolutely pop off and kill everybody. So tier 2 ADs can still be played, they can still work, but I don't think they're top tier, and I don't think over a consistent climb like they're going to do as well as the others anymore. Varus is kind of weak to assassins, which sucks anyway, but Mastery Page's fervor is actually good for him, the new fervor. Like, it increases his ability damage as well, and I can see him actually being a bit better himself. I still think Manamune is good on him, maybe like a hybrid build, so Dustblade will be okay, but not amazing. Ghostblade is the same because of no attack speed. You could maybe go like Manamune, Ghostblade into auto and crit build, but this is the problem with him. One, he sucks versus assassins, and two, his item build kind of got screwed over a little bit because Ghostblade doesn't have attack speed anymore. Tristana is the other one in tier 2 because you're actually worse off, I think, than last season. You're already not like that great, I guess, but you're probably going to take Warlords in your Masteries, which isn't ideal. It sucks because the old fervor was so good with RUNES, and the new fervor is not as good for you. Item build, you're probably going to have a triple crit like a Jinx or a Caitlyn. You can maybe see a Dustblade rush Tristana into crit for some serious lane kill and potential, but that's pretty cheesy. And finally, Kog'Maw and Kalista are tier 1. I'm not even going to go into them because they're exactly the same as they are now and in bad spots. It's really sad because fervor not being on hit anymore is a really big nerf to both of these guys, and we would need to find new builds to somehow make them work, in my opinion, which I haven't found so far, so I don't even really want to go into them. So now you should have a really good idea of what to expect in the preseason with the patch tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for staying until the end if you have, but that's all for this video, so I'll catch you in tomorrow's one.